To my immediate left, I've got Jake Shapiro, who's the founding partner of Moderator Ventures and CEO of PRS Inc. We also have a switch in our schedule. We have Marie Gilot, who's the program officer for journalism at the Knight Foundation. To her left, we have Deborah Jackson, who's the founder and CEO of Plum Angels. And on our far left there, we have Christie George, who's the director of New Media Ventures. And so my first question, I'd like really for you all to begin by starting out and just helping us understand your approach to funding at your organization, and then specifically what you do to help women founders. So if we start from the end and come this direction, that would be great.
Thanks everyone for having me. I'm really inspired by the morning. I'm excited to get into this conversation about money. So New Media Ventures started 3 or 4 years ago, so we think of ourselves as sort of an infant in the funding world, and we try to bring the best of the venture capital world and the foundation world to bear on the startup space. So we fund at the seed level. We fund both nonprofit and for-profit media and technology companies and organizations that create progressive political change. And we do that in a funding range of $50,000 to $1 million in grants, equity, debt financing. And we've got a couple of new programs that we've started, most recently the New Media Ventures Innovation Fund, which is an open call process. So we'll take a look at anything that fits into an early stage $50,000 level grant and investment for startups. This round is on for-profit startups, and in fact, we've met a couple of entrepreneurs here who applied for the fund. In terms of what we do to support women entrepreneurs, one of the things we're very proud of in the context of a technology portfolio is that our portfolio had been 50% women. Interestingly, most of the women entrepreneurs were actually running nonprofit startups. So it's a finding that Echo and Green also found in their cohort of fellows as well. It's something that we're thinking about, and we found that the way to address that issue was around being really proactive in getting people to apply to New Media Ventures. So it is always true that we would take a look at anything, but in terms of our own networks, the things that tended to come to us, either via other investors, other colleagues as funders, or entrepreneurs that we funded before, did tend to be men. And so in the open call, what we did was aggressively market toward women technology listservs, communities that brought together women entrepreneurs. We kind of took a page from the Knight Mozilla Fellowships. There's a great post by one of their staffers about what they did to increase the diversity of their applicants. I encourage all of you to read it. And we basically sort of tried to follow that step by step. We, we're still not there yet. I'd say we do less well on racial and ethnic diversity than I'd like. But I think being really proactive about meeting people where they're at and encouraging them to apply to you is probably the sort of lowest hanging fruit, I would say, to increase the applicant pool of women entrepreneurs.
Hi everybody, I'm Deborah Jackson. I'm the founder and CEO of Plum. Plum is a company where women come to raise money for their ventures and their projects. And I've come at this from a number of perspectives. I have my career for many, many years, 21 years on Wall Street, and raised money for companies, big companies and small companies. And after that experience, I became very passionate about the fact that there are these amazing women out there. They weren't always able to achieve their full potential, certainly not on Wall Street, and I was seeing it in other sectors as well. ratio that kills innovation. It kills the ability for women to actually have thriving companies. It means that women don't have a seat at the table, and also women don't create the wealth from the ventures and companies they're creating. So I'm very passionate about moving that needle. It's nothing my company can do alone. We need to do this together, not only on women founding companies and getting money for their companies, but also the other side of the equation. We need more women to write checks. And as we know, women control the wealth in this country, but not very much of it flows over to supporting female founders. So a lot of it goes to philanthropy, and I'm not saying that's not good. It's just there are some other things that we can be doing as women to further our values and to create a bigger ecosystem that has more impact in the world.
So the Knight Foundation has a journalism program and a media innovation program. And together, we make about 30 to 40 million of new grants every year. So it's pretty sizable. And we focus on innovation when it comes to tools, platforms, and processes for journalism. So we don't generally tend to fund content. It has to be something that is new and can be reproduced or used by other journalists to help the space move forward. As for women, obviously we have to be very proactive about making sure that women get their fair share of that money. Because if we are not really vigilant about it, it doesn't get done. This is something that tends to fall through the cracks in my experience. So that has really translated in a specific effort to make sure that when we sponsor panels or discussions, that there's a gender equality and that there's diversity represented on panels that we fund. And also as grants come, we have had focus pretty recently on diversity. So we have made a few ad hoc grants that are specifically for that, including a great program at CUNY for sending kids from HBCUs and other minority schools to paid internships during the summer in New York, in places like New York Times or ProPublica or wherever they can be placed, and get paid because sometimes it's hard to get those internships when you can afford to just take up and pay for all your costs. So I'm very proud of some of these diversity-specific grants, and I hope we can make more of them. And if you have any ideas about how we can go about that, I'm available.
I'm Jake Shapiro. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. It's nice to have gotten a secret pass to the conference to live in. I wear two hats. I'm the executive director of PRX Public Radio Exchange, and we're a distribution marketplace for stories in and beyond public radio, including these days podcasts, which are finally clicking in, which is great. But a few years ago, I also helped found Matter Ventures. And Matter is a mission-driven accelerator for media startups. We're based out, PRX is in Cambridge, but Matter is right in the heart of Silicon Valley in San Francisco. And it's a 5-month accelerator program focused on mission-driven media for-profit startups, where we invest in the companies. They need to be early stage, usually have a product and a team. Our mission is to change media for good, so it's very much trying to bring values and principles out of journalism and public media, our roots, but enshrine that in some of the practices and mindsets of creating technology startups that we think have been a huge source of value and of growth and of impact. And we've now been around for about 2.5 years. We've had 3 classes of entrepreneurs who come through. My co-founder, Corey Ford, runs the program out in San Francisco. And in terms of where we've been sourcing and trying to really help diversify the applicant pool, we're threading a needle because the accelerator program is not just an investment, it's actually a 5-month in-person program. You have to be in San Francisco for 5 months with a team. And that has to line up perfectly with where you are in starting your venture. So there's a lot of hurdles and barriers to do that. We're only providing $50,000 of a cash seed investment plus 5 months of the program and support. So a huge amount of work for us is in widening the funnel of applicants and doing a lot of the proactive outreach to make sure that We've got high caliber and diverse teams coming into our process. Some of that I've drawn from my own public media history because I think since Matter is reaching often a creative set of industries, journalists, editors, filmmakers, others who have just been aspiring to start their own thing, I think we've actually had a higher quotient of certainly women applicants to Matter. We've reached out to the Minority Consortium in Public Media, and some through Christie and others, networks that we know are in Silicon Valley. In the last class of Matter 3, 50% of the teams had women co-founders, which was terrific. And we just made our offers to teams finalize the new class coming in. And it's a wonderful thing that it turned out with coming to this, because it's 2/3 of the founders, the CEOs of the incoming class are women-led startups, which I think is a great, hopefully a sign of things to come. And I do see that in just sort of the mix of how the program is fared, that I think for media entrepreneurs, women starting new institutions, because it's part of like actually getting out of institutions, Matter is a really great launching pad for those ideas.
Great. So we've got a variety of different perspectives here on